Here the air is sweet and clear, the heavens serene. The woods are adorned with lovely flowers for colour and variety. I've seen the gardens of London with that sort of beauty, but think they may be improved by our woods. William Penn.
William Penn, by birth, education, talent, and charismatic personality, seemed destined for a brilliant career. The son of a wealthy and famous English admiral, Penn knew the privileges of the upper class. He had studied at Oxford, and as a young man helped manage his father's estates in Ireland. These early experiences came during a period of intense change in England's history. The Great Fire had consumed London, and religious strife threw the country into a civil war. It was a time of upheaval and unrest. Young William Penn responded to the world he knew in a remarkable way. In 1667, at the age of 23, he joined one of England's most radical and persecuted religious sects, the Society of Friends, commonly known as Quakers. He shocked his parents by adopting their distinctive language and philosophy. Quakers believed that each person possessed the light within, a personal sense of God's presence. Penn's love for his new religion transformed him into a powerful messenger as he spread the Quaker word in England, Ireland, and Europe. The English government deemed the Quaker message sacrilegious, and like so many Quakers, Penn was at times imprisoned. Penn's collision course with English authority stirred dreams of a colony in the New World where religious tolerance would prevail. His opportunity came in 1681. To settle an old debt with Penn's father, King Charles II granted young William an immense tract of land, 26 million acres between New York and Maryland. The king also suggested a name for the new province, Penn's Woods, or Pennsylvania, in honor of William Penn's father. In addition to English Quakers, Penn invited those from other faiths and other countries to join him in the New World. Penn arrived in Pennsylvania in 1682. His colony's cultural diversity was remarkable for the 17th century. So too were his plans for developing its land, economy, and government. Penn designed an elected government with laws that guaranteed religious tolerance for all, and he had faith it would serve as a model society.
The nations wanted precedent. And because I had been somewhat exercised about the nature of government among men, it is reasonable to expect that I should endeavor to establish a just and righteous one in this province, that others may take example by it. A holy experiment.
Penn immediately established excellent relations with the Lenape Indians. As a Quaker, he believed that all should be treated with respect. So he purchased Pennsylvania's land one tract at a time from the Lenape and other Native Americans who had long lived in the area. Numerous treaties assured years of peaceful coexistence. Unlike the other colonies where misunderstandings often led to war, Pennsylvania exhibited a stark contrast of peace. Soon after his arrival, Penn designed a plan for Philadelphia, which he called his Green Country Town. He and his surveyor laid out the grid plan with 5 public squares, ensuring open green spaces. At the same time, he began building the only house he would own in the New World, Pennsbury Manor. As an English gentleman, Penn desired a rural retreat away from urban life. He situated his estate along the Delaware River, offering lovely views and convenient transportation to Philadelphia, 26 miles downstream. Pennsbury's magnificent setting illustrated his wealth and importance as the most powerful person in the new province. Penn observed and admired the beauty in nature, which, as a Quaker, he believed radiated from the loving hand of God. He paid close attention to the development of Pennsbury's landscape, directing gardeners who tended the fields, orchards, and kitchen garden. Penn's plans for Pennsbury revealed a concern for the environment that was unusual for his time.
In the furrow. In the furrow, Andy.
In clearing the ground, care should be taken to leave 1 acre of trees for every 5 acres cleared, especially to preserve oak and mulberries for silk and shipping.
At its peak, Pennsbury was a small but active community which brought the plantation to life. Some who lived and worked here were English, others were Welsh, German, or African American. Some were free, some indentured servants, and others enslaved. In spite of his Quaker beliefs about human spiritual equality, Penn proved to be a man of his times, accepting African slavery as necessary. Penn owned several slaves. As early Quakers began to question the morality of slavery, Penn made plans to free his slaves, but these plans were never realized. His apparent contradiction in philosophy and action continues to intrigue historians today. All were not equal at Pennsbury, and some were not free. Penn's home represented a miniature Pennsylvania, where people from different backgrounds labored together to build a life in the New World. Penn spent 2 years in his colony, then returned to England in 1684. Once again, he was at odds with the government and threatened with arrest. A few years later, the Crown temporarily took Pennsylvania's rule away from him. During this time, his beloved wife, Gulielma, became sick and died. Together, they had 8 children and a loving marriage built on Quaker ideas of mutual respect.
There can be no friendship where there is no freedom. A true friend advises justly, assists readily, adventures boldly, takes all patiently, defends courageously, and continues a friend unchangeably. Choose a friend as thou dost a wife, till death separates you.
2 years after Gooley's death, Penn married Hannah Callowhill, who accompanied him back to Pennsylvania in 1699. The first of their 7 children, John, was born in Philadelphia a few months later. The Penn family remained in the colony 2 more years before returning to England in 1701. Although Penn often wrote of going back to America and his beloved Pennsbury, he never did. In his absence, political strife beset Pennsylvania, and in England, crippling debts led to his imprisonment for 9 months. In 1712, he suffered a series of strokes that incapacitated him, and he died 6 years later. Fellow Quakers remembered his loving nature and great accomplishments.
He was a man of great abilities, of an excellent sweetness of disposition, as extensive of charity as comprehensive in knowledge, and to whom malice and ingratitude were utter strangers.
Penn's death hastened the decline of Pennsbury, which fell into ruin. By 1800, it was completely gone. However, memories of Penn and his home survived. During the 1920s, increased public interest led the state to acquire the land where Pennsbury once stood. Archaeological excavations in the 1930s revealed the manor's original foundations. The discoveries helped shape architectural plans for reconstructing the house and its outbuildings, projects that began in 1937. The work under Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal program employed many people during the Depression, although critics claimed it was a waste of money. To finish the site, workers planted more than 1,000 trees and 5,000 shrubs and flowering plants, a living homage to Penn's love for nature's beauty. The reconstructed Pennsbury Manor opened to the public in 1939. A number of architects and historians voiced their disapproval, complaining that the research had proceeded too quickly and strayed from factual evidence. Questions and research have continued. The new Pennsbury Manor is best described as a colonial revival project that conveys the spirit, though perhaps not the precise appearance, of Penn's 17th century home. It is that vibrant spirit which characterizes Pennsbury Manor, the primary memorial to William Penn in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Today, by preserving precious green country on the banks of the Delaware, illustrating late 17th century life, and conducting research to attain a broader understanding of Penn and his times, Pennsbury Manor honors William Penn. Penn the individual, founder of Pennsylvania, and highly esteemed national figure, a man Thomas Jefferson called the greatest lawgiver the world has produced. Penn truly believed it was possible to create a better world. Pennsylvania was his expression of that faith.
It is a clear and just thing, and my God that has given it to me, through many difficulties, will, I believe, bless and make it the seed of a nation.
The seed of a nation he planted took root, and despite difficulties, flourished, then spread beyond Pennsylvania's borders. In 1776, in his city of Philadelphia, Penn's vision found new expression in the Declaration of Independence, which affirmed the rights of individuals to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Years later, this dream blossomed. The United States Constitution established as national principle Penn's firm conviction in religious freedom and a government elected by the people. These defining American beliefs remain at the core of who we are as a people who, like Penn, still dream and work to create a better world.